Ok, c'est parti. Hello, everybody. I'm really glad to have you for this podcast. Alors, we are a French podcast which is called Awakening Consciousness. I am glad to introduce you my guest, which is Fanny. Hello, Fanny.
Hello, Evelyn. Thank you for having me today.
Alors, thank you to you to be here in present with us. Sorry, it's my French English podcast. So we created this podcast in 2019. So every week we invite a new inspiring person who speak about his passion, his activities, spirituality, sense of life, well-being, therapy, and also medicine. Alors, we also are going to make some French events in presential, but also online. Maybe one day we will go abroad. Let's see what happens. I would like to introduce you a bit my guest, Fanny. You are a consultant in energy alignment for business, but also individuals. You created an innovative method which is called the Galus, but you will explain us during this podcast what is about. Alors, before that personal and professional changement, you were working in a big company, you were having a lot of responsibilities, and then you have some health trouble, which leads you to explore different therapy and also meditation, and to feel like physically and mentally better. Alors, first of all, Fanny, I would like to ask you if you can introduce yourself, introduce your way, which has led you to here now.
Okay. Hello, Evelyn. So thank you for the introductions. My name is Fanny Galus, and we do this podcast in English as well because I've been living 13 years abroad in many countries outside France. My corporate career led me to work between Paris and Shanghai and Beijing and Hong Kong, and I am based in South Africa in Cape Town for the past 7 years. So, like you said, I had a little bit of health issues about 8 years ago. That started when I had my corporate job. I used to work for the hospitality industry at corporate job levels in many countries, and yeah, 8 years ago, I started to feel the pressure of the responsibility of the job, but not only that, I also had some lifestyle issues, like I was working hard, playing hard, kind of,
Yes.
a little bit of the cliche of the expatriate person that work 10, 12 hours per day and then go party. And so, my lifestyle was also a bit too social, a little bit too much drinking. So I wasn't looking after myself to have a mindset, a lifestyle that could sustain my energy, that could help me perform at my best for my job, but also in my personal life. And that led me to a burnout, to panic attacks, to anxiety crises, lack of sleep, constantly being nervous. And so I was still in position in Asia at that time. And then my company transferred me to South Africa. And I thought blindly that a new environment will simply cure all my issues instantly, like by magic. But obviously the panic attack came back. And being in Cape Town at that time, which is a very spiritual city, with a lot of healers and a very easy access to energy work and meditation, and also very affordable compared to other countries, I decided that I didn't want to use any medication, but I will find a way to make myself better, to make myself be able to breathe again, to make myself find a way to be centered. And that was really the beginning of my spiritual journey, that my body showed me the way. My body said, that's enough now. You got to find a way to be more balanced in your life. So explore different type of, like I said, breathing technique was really the first one, because I couldn't breathe properly because I was so stressed. And that was the first modality. And then I met people. I did energy circle and meditation, hypnotherapy, kinesiology, you name it. I've
Wow.
tried. I've tried many different aspects. Yes. So yeah, so that was really the entry into my spiritual quest. And then from there on, I while I was still working with my corporate job, I was keep exploring that spiritual side of me, and I came across some energy modalities that help you measure the frequencies and the energies, and that's how started to spark my interest. When I was still having my corporate job, and I was like, this is interesting, how we can use, or how we can maybe potentially measure the energy, and how we can make decisions based on that aspect. So I kept that idea in my mind for many years, and I started to play with it in my job, my personal life, just playing, But at some point, there was a calling in me. After a few years, I knew my corporate job will leave. At that time, I didn't know it will be because of a worldwide pandemic, but I kind of already knew my corporate career was coming towards the end. And like I said, the pandemic accelerated a lot of things. I was in a hospitality industry that was hit very badly from the start. So lost my job during that time, but I felt it was exactly kind of almost written for me to not hold on to the past and then just start something, a new chapter. And that's at that period that I started to think about what methods could I create. I don't know, I had this certitude that I had to create my own method. And that's how the Galus method was birthed about 2 years ago. And I can tell you more about it now.
Yes, sure. But also, I think you already respond to me because I had a question in mind. And my question was, have you always been interested by energy, or it really like comes after all of these experiences?
This is a good question, because to be perfectly honest, and I don't really talk about it very often, as a kid, I was absolutely obsessed with life after death. That's the word I was using as a kid, right? Life after death. I was reading books from Allan Kardec, a very
Yeah,
famous
I
medium,
love Alan Kardec.
right? And I think I must have been between 12 and 15 years old. And I must admit, I was playing with the Ouija, with the
Oh,
letters
yeah.
and the Ouija, to a point where it got me very scared at some point. And we had unfortunately one of our friends, our group of teenager friends, died in a car accident, and then after that we got a bit obsessed by trying to get in touch with him, and that is not an advice I will give to teenagers to play with. And I got really into situations where I really got scared. I was not myself anymore, and I had to stop all of this. And so I guess, to answer your question, I was always kind of attracted to that spiritual aspect and universe, but only when I was back to Cape Town at 34, 35 years old. So almost 20 years later, that I've reopened that side of myself through my little health issue.
It was quiet sleeping, and now you really explore that.
I do believe in timing in life. I do believe that, things awaken inside of you when you're ready to welcome them. And I think before that, I was a very ambitious corporate woman, and I think I wasn't ready to see something else. And I needed to go through that career that I really enjoyed. And I think I was just, when everything reappeared to me, I was ready to receive it. And I was ready I was mature enough to receive the information and to have the courage to create my own business and company 2 years ago, which I don't think I would have had the courage even 3 years earlier. So everything has a timing and a place in life. And sometimes I have clients coming to me and say, I can't find my purpose. I can't find what am I supposed to be doing. And I had the case just yesterday, and I said, if you feel you're at the right place at the right moment, doing the right thing, you are doing your purpose. And even if it's not like obvious to you as like something you can pronounce and shape yet, the moment that you're on your path and you're in your alignment, you are doing your purpose, and maybe it will become bigger and bigger until it becomes so obvious that's what you have to do for maybe the rest of your life. And I think this is the work that I'm doing with the Galus method. Like you say, I'm energy alignment consultant. So what I do is I give direction to my clients to be in alignment with their path, to be in alignment with what their soul frequency is. So it is kind of like helping them fulfilling a purpose, or at least following a path.
Okay, thank you. I have many questions about your method. First of all, can you explain us what leads you to create this method? I think you already also replied a bit to this question. And also, what does it useful for and how it works? The last question.
Okay. So like it's like years and years of
Yes.
like spiritual quest and finding information. And then suddenly, a year and a half ago, I remember the date, right? 4th August 2021, the method came to me in 2 days. Like the method, the grid that I have developed, and the structure obviously was brewing in my mind for years, right? Like it's not like it just, suddenly a message came to me. It's a brewing of ideas, and then suddenly everything just made sense. So the method, okay. So the principle of the method is really that I use energy to make impactful decisions in your life or in your business. So instead of making decisions based necessarily on rationality or conditioning or what you used to think is the best option, we're going to tap into the frequency of the decision, the frequency of the options, to ensure that the choice that we're going to make is the one that is the most aligned with your personal frequency or your business frequency. So that's like in a nutshell. So it works obviously with the principle that everything is energy. Everything has a vibration, a frequency. It doesn't come from me. It's now proven scientifically. So I hope I don't have to convince anyone on this show that everything is energy. So you have a certain vibration. Your vibration is different than mine. But also a house has a vibration. A job has a certain vibration. The food that we eat, an activity that we do, obviously all the people around us, a book, a movie, a certain vibration. The music, obviously, I think the music is very obvious for many people. Some music is going to uplift our frequency, and some are like, oh, what is that? I can't stand that music, right? This is your body replying to the vibration around you. So that is the principle, right? And in my mind, because I come from a corporate background with numbers, I wanted to be able to measure if the vibrations and frequencies around us are in alignment with ourselves. Obviously, with the idea that if you are surrounded by vibrations that are much lower than you or not in alignment, this is going to affect your own energy. Especially the people around you has a very massive effect, right? And we all know that one friend or acquaintance that keep complaining all the time, and the moment we go home, we're like, I'm drained. I can't take those complaints and gossip anymore, right? We all know that person, whether it's a colleague or a friend or sometimes partner, which is worse. But right, so I wanted to find a way to measure those frequencies. I created then a grid that I call GPS grid, or guided path to your soul grid in English. So guided path to your soul. So a grid from 1 to 12. Each level has a meaning, right? So for instance, level 4 is a stagnant energy. So that could be if you have a boring job, then you're going to have a 4. Oh, my job is at 4. It's like, I just can't be motivated to get up and go. If you have an energy of 8, it's a balanced energy. This is a great energy to have in your home, for instance, that very zen, zen type of vibration. The level 11 is an energy of inspiration. This is a great energy, for instance, to for a new training, a new book you want to read that's going to be really inspiring you with new ideas. So I use this grid from 1 to 12 to measure the energetic alignment in all areas of everybody's life and also the business. For instance, a website also have an energy. Is your website in alignment with your business? Is your marketing strategies in alignment with your business? Your social media, your pricing, your services and products? And to do so, because people are like, how do you measure energy? Do you have like a big machine or something like that? Well, the answer is I have the most amazing machine, which is just my body. And we all have one. So that's good news, right? So I'm not special. And so I also use, to measure the energetic alignment with the grid, I use my body and what we call the muscle testing technique, which is also called applied kinesiology. So applied kinesiology, maybe some people know kinesiology sessions where you check imbalances in your body energetically. So it's the same principle. Our body is going to have a response to what is positive or negative for us. Right, so if it's positive, I'm going to have a strong muscle test. And if it's negative, a weak muscle test. So I do all my sessions online. So I don't need to be with my clients, but I can connect remotely to their energy and use my own body to actually test, what's in alignment for them or not. So for instance, yesterday, I had a client that wanted me to test, I want to go on holidays in September, but like for a few months. So it was a big decision. It wasn't just like for a week. She wanted to travel for a few months, and she's like, should I go to Thailand? Should I go to I think it was Spain, or should I go to I think it was Peru? So it was very different destination, and I tested all destinations. For example, like I said, Spain is going to be a 4. It's going to be very stagnant energy. So it's not right. But if you go to Thailand, that's a 9 energy, very powerful. That's going to be a driver. And Peru is at 6. 6 means it's not ready yet for you. Not a bad idea, but not for now. So that's how I'm going to use, right? So I use muscle test with the GPS grid, and then I guide my clients towards the choice, the decisions that are the most aligned on their path.
Okay, so it's really interesting because obviously, as you said, you also would like to train people to feel and to listen their body. So it's totally possible. I mean, we can just like train, and we can also get this. How do you call it?
The muscle test, or
Yes,
what?
the muscle test.
Yeah. And and that's why I call as well, I have a program called Connect to Your Inner GPS, right? Because this GPS grid is also simply a connection to your own soul frequency. Because the last level on the GPS grid is 12. It's unity with your home, what I call your home frequency, your natural frequency. And we all have it inside of us. But then our conditioning, the negative energies around us, the pressure from other people often make us doubt our own messages and our own decision. Sometimes we know we're sure about something, but then we keep doubting ourselves. Should I do this? Should I do that? But I can tell you, during a session, when I get very high results, like, when we are like 11 or 12 on the grid, and I often, especially at 12, when I say it's total alignment with your energy, often my clients like burst into tears and tell me, I knew it, but I couldn't make the decisions. I wasn't sure because we sometimes because of fears, because like I say, because we think about all the obstacles rather than the benefits. So there are all those layers of like not being willing to make that decisions. But to come back to your questions, we all have it in ourselves, and I'm actually gonna work on a program to train people to connect to their inner GPS and make what I say, become your own best life coach. Because once you can get all the answers from your body in 2 seconds, your life going to change forever. And now the only thing is to trust the answer. The difficulty is to trust that what you get is right, and to take action, right? Because a
Yes.
lot of people don't, I must say, probably somebody that will take action, and maybe other people will be more in the reflection mode, and maybe then it's always like the method is magical when you follow the result that you get, and then only then you realize that was exactly the direction, and that was the best decision to make, but you don't know if you don't take it.
Yes, true. And we also need to be confident in ourselves, in this power which is here, just like in our body. Just everything is here, but you help us also like to make us understand better and to make it to take the best decision in our lives. I would like also to ask you a question. Can you share an experience, positive experience, obviously, that you lived with a company or with an individual thanks to this method?
Yeah, I recently worked with a company that offers meditation programs, and actually, when I launched my method for business after the individuals, I actually offered my services for a few case studies, because I needed to prove myself first. Like, can I actually find out the challenges in a company without asking anything about it? So that was the first step, that I wanted to prove myself. So I work with 4 companies as case studies, and I said, don't tell me anything about your business. I am going to find out energetically what's not
Oh, okay.
working. Because I've created some maps as well. So I was looking at the map of the foundation of the business, where there was an issue with marketing, with finances, with strategic planning, with their services, with their pricing. So I had some sort of like what I call energetic pointers. And then I was using the GPS grid. And for that particular company that offer meditation programs, I could find that the quality of the program was amazing, but the loyalty of the guest was very low. The
Oh.
loyalty was only at 3, which is a very scattered energy. So I was like, and then I realized they only have 1 program of meditation. So they can't keep their customers loyal if there is nothing else to sell and keep them, in the program, in the company. So from that, like, I mean, there's obviously were other challenges that we work on, but there was one that really came very strong from the beginning, and say, you need to move from 1 program to 3 different tiers. So instead of having just a student program, we created, we still have the student program, obviously, but then we created a meditation teacher program, so that people can be certified to become teacher, either in their workplace or for their, in their life, whatever they're doing as a profession. And then we created the 3rd tier, where those teachers can even become ambassador of the brand and benefit from the marketing support, the website, and a future app that they are developing, so they can use all the brand and all the resources to use as meditation teachers. By just doing that, the sales. She's actually starting the teacher program for the first time as we speak. I think next week. So and she's got a great participation. So by just like creating new tier programs that came up from this energy, we are increasing the sales. We're going to increase the reach to different type of people. Some people already have a meditation practice and want to become teacher. So yeah, this was really an amazing way to. And then we did all the website, because I do like website energy testing, but page by page, like I check the design, the content, is it in alignment with a company? So it really helps to review the marketing copy, review the message, making sure it is strong enough according to your brand and to the vision that you have for your business. So it's very practical. My method in a way is very like I wanted to bridge spirituality and materiality. I wanted to find a way to really use energy as a decision tool to motivate us to find the direction quicker, to get us out of being stuck, right, and not being able to make decisions. And I work a lot with like small business owners, because small business owners, they have to make most of their decision if it's not 100% for their business. And sometimes it's just too much, right? Like they're not necessarily marketing expert, they're not necessarily pricing expert. And then they have to make all those decisions all the time. And just having a bit of relief from someone like me, you know, external from the company, that can help smooth the process and kind of like create a proper roadmap for them to focus on the important projects, the project that can really expand their business to their true potential. So the results have been just absolutely amazing. And if I can share another example, maybe, if you don't
Yes,
mind.
sure, you can share it.
Yeah.
But first of all, I just would like to confirm what you said. As an entrepreneur also, I think it's really difficult sometimes because you are stuck in one vision. It's like you are like that, and you can't see the opportunities around you, and you can't understand that your business and all the ideas and all the world which is around is changing all the time. So you have to move and you have to think new all the time, and it's not easy. That's why it's also really important to to call someone like you. I mean, an exterior.
Yeah, exactly. You know, and sometimes in just one session, like 90 minutes, you can get
Yes.
just a new direction. And I've seen countless time now that I'm, you know, since I'm like 100% doing this for the past year or two. It's like it's like at the end of the session, you know exactly what you should be doing, and it's almost like a relief to getting
Yes.
out of the rabbit hole. It's like, oh, I know now what I should be doing. And you know, actually, it's good that you asked that, because I'm attracting more like on the individual side than more than businesses. I'm attracting the vast majority of my clients are clients that are in a crossroad in their professional career, and they just don't know where to go next. Whether they are still in their current job, but they're like, I don't. And funny enough, lately a lot from finance. Not like I have anything against finance
Yes.
or financial work, right? But I must say, a lot of people from finance have called me lately and say, I don't want to work in finance anymore, but I don't know what
Wow.
else I want to do. And what I also believe in a session is that you have the answer. And maybe I haven't said that yet, is I don't, if you tell me I don't know what to do, I want to give up my financial role. Okay, I'm not a psychic. I can't tell you what you're going to do just out of thin air. So I believe your soul has the answer, but you're not necessarily able to listen, or you don't want to listen very loudly. What are those messages? So I'm always going to say, I always ask you to prepare all the questions that you have, but also give me some direction. So let's say I had a client lately, in finance as well. And then she's like, oh, maybe I want to do something into energy and healing and helping others and naturopathy. And so we checked all those different ideas. Some were very specific. And then until we get to the highest energy level. And the highest energy level was actually to help small business owners. So some are like doing coaching for small business owner, but helping them with their finances side of their business. So it was actually a mix of what she used to be doing in finance with a desire to help others rather than working for big corporate companies and be just like one among 1,000. So what came up after, through the session is like, you have to help and coach people and bring your experience, your expertise, your ease with numbers, and help them to understand that side that you know very well, but in a different way, probably in a more rewarding way.
Yes.
So that's one another example. So a lot of people contact me for professional crossroad and change of direction, and I can tell you, it's magic. We always have an answer.
Wow, it's so interesting. And you know what? Also, I want to share this with you because this morning I was listening a podcast with a director of a company which is like mentor, something like that. Mentor. I forgot the second name, but it's a coaching for companies also. And he was explaining that since the COVID, so post-COVID, a lot of people are not aligned in their work. Most of the time, according to the manager, because they don't have good contacts with him, or they are not in the same alignment anymore. And he was explaining like many people now want to create their own business. So this is really good because what do you think
Yeah.
also about the future? Do you think like alignments intrigues or interest like business now, or maybe it's more in America or more in Europe?
Well, obviously, I'm opening a new door here,
Mhm.
right? I'm not saying that no one works with energy in business, far from it. Obviously, my method is different because it's more structured. But right now, I'm targeting more like like small to middle-sized business
Mhm.
owners, because I need to work directly with the CEO and it's easier for me. So I attract people that already understand there is energy, already understand there is a way to use
Mhm.
that to make decisions. They're not necessarily very spiritual, but they are
Mhm.
curious. And when they see that in a 90 minutes, 2 hour session, what we can do, they're like blown away, like, all right, where do you
Mhm.
sign for a longer program, kind of. But I must say, I have a little bit more interest at this point with Americans,
Mhm.
or Americas in general. I work with a lot of people from Costa Rica as well lately, because I think they are more advanced in the
Mhm.
spiritual side consciousness. I think they're probably like
Mhm.
10, 15 years ahead of France, or maybe Europe in general, in that area. And they are more like ready to take risk and ready to
Mhm.
try. Ready to try. Okay, I try. It does work. It doesn't work. They also have a better buying power. Let's be honest, in comparison
Mhm.
to Europe. So they are more willing to try and spend, a couple of €1,000 or dollars in a program that could maybe make their business better, rather than in France, in Europe in general. We're a bit like, oh, what is that? Never heard about that.
Mhm.
Not sure I want to spend money. Not sure I want to take the risk. So there is a different mindset,
Okay.
and that obviously between both continents. But I really believe it's coming. I really believe people are awakening
Mhm.
to new way of doing business, new way of understanding that the answer is not always in the data.
Mm.
And
Yes.
I love data, right? I'm not I'm obsessed about Excel spreadsheets, right? So I'm a data person. I love metrics. I love that, and I'm always going to check my metrics and data even for my own business. But at the end of the day,
Mhm.
the data sometimes is not going to tell you whether this is the right message in your marketing, this is the right services or product that you need to sell, is this going to be the right pricing. I mean, obviously there's competition analysis, but at the end you have to feel what is right, what feels in
Mm.
alignment, and the data can't always tell you that. I was realizing at the end in my corporate job, where I was doing business strategy for hotels,
Mhm.
for many hotels across Africa. I had 70 of them. So not just, obviously I had a team, but when you have to be responsible for the strategy and the results of 70 hotels, you can't just look at data all the time. There are a lot of decisions that I was making based on intuition, on my experience, of course, but a lot of
Mhm.
on my intuition, and like I feel this is the right way to go. Let's just do this, and say it with confidence that everybody thought I was doing like big deep analysis, but I was just sure it was the right way to go. And I think it is a time now that we can bring and introduce a way to measure that level of intuition, so
Mhm.
that we can try to bring data into energy, let's say.
Yeah, why
It's
not?
yeah, it's gonna come. I mean, it's my big mission, obviously, right, to bring it into the corporate world, and to acknowledge that we make
Mhm.
decisions more with intuition than data.
Oh, really interesting. I want to ask you also a question. What is an energically life for you? We
Okay.
can start by life or by a day.
Well, yeah. Listen, I definitely have some rituals myself now,
Mhm.
using the GPS grid. I can tell you that I don't make any decisions without the GPS grid anymore. When I'm invited to a dinner, or a barbecue, or I don't know, any type of social activities, I always check the energy. And if it's too low, I just don't go. Just to give you an example. So I live my life with number, which I know sounds a bit geeky, but I always say, the numbers talk to me. So if they talk to me, I just follow. An aligned life is making choices that that feel right for you, and being able to say no. I think that's probably the first principle. If it doesn't feel right, just take the courage to say no. Whether, like I just said, whether it's meeting people that doesn't make you feel good, whether it's quitting a job that makes you feel miserable. And I know it's easier to say than to be done, especially if you have financial trouble. But the moment that you leave a job, or maybe you leave a partner, you're going to feel so much better. You're going to feel so much more in alignment with your frequency, that I can guarantee you new opportunities will come to you the moment you reclaim your own energy. And that happens a lot with relationships and jobs, right? When we stay too long in the wrong frequency. And to come back to relationship and job, because our frequency can change over time, over the years. The reason a separation happens, whether a job or romantic relationship, is because each of us frequency has changed. Whether it's your business, whether it's your company frequency, maybe the company frequency has dropped because, new leaders that make choices or new values that are not in alignment with you, and you're not feeling you belong there anymore. Or relationship because one of the partner has evolved in a different direction. And that's when the frequency becomes there is a gap, like the gap widen and widen, and that's when you start to not understand each other, and that's when the separation happens. So a life align is to be able to feel those elements, to keep in mind that if you're not feeling well and you don't feel you belong anymore in certain situation and context, it's time for you to move on. And then new opportunities will come to your life. But if you don't make space for those new opportunities, it's just you just get stuck, right? And that's often when people contact me, because they're stuck, and I think they need a bit of a nudge, maybe a bit of assistance, guidance to take that leap of faith towards a direction.
But it's also really interesting because you're right. Sometimes we feel like we are stuck, and sometimes we feel like a separation, it's really bad. And we feel so sad that we can't see abroad. We can't see like the opportunities which is waiting for us to evaluate. And I also think like in this life we are here sometimes to had like some terrible events to let us evaluate and really like change our perspective of life.
Exactly. And when on my grid I get a 12, sometimes for some decisions 12 means unity, alignment with your path. It doesn't mean 12 is going to bring you happiness and your dream job and everything dreamy and happy and easy. It just means this is the direction that you need to take, because on that path your soul has a contract to learn some lessons, to meet certain people, to experience certain things with a new job. Maybe if you start a business, I mean, I haven't heard anyone say starting a business is easy, but if it's your path, you got to try, and you got to put your heart into it, and then you will go over the obstacles. But life is full of lessons that we need to learn, and avoiding them isn't going to make us grow.
Yes, exactly. It's really interesting also what you say, because we have obstacles in all the decisions that we make also, but it's really like also to help us to continue to be motivated, to learn, and just like to change a lot of things. So it's important to be confident.
Yeah, and I know it's not easy. It's probably easier for
Oui.
me at my place now to
Mhm.
say so. Well, I live my life with, testing the energies and going with it. But I have days when I'm like, oh, this is too hard. Like, I just want to go back to a corporate job, and life was easier. And I
Yeah.
remember that I wasn't learning new things in my corporate job, and I was feeling something was lacking. I wasn't miserable, but something was lacking. I could feel I needed to grow towards something else. So
Mhm.
yeah, I mean, life is a long path, but it's also beautiful.
Mm. Alors, I have also a question according to you. We spoke about the words energies, frequencies. Um, how you could maybe define it,
Define, yeah.
define how you could define it.
Energy, yes. I mean, obviously, I don't have the scientific explanation for those energies and
Mhm.
vibrations, but it really about what you feel like. And there's always this example of that. Sometimes that colleague, like you meet even for the first time, you're like, I can't stand that person.
Mm.
I can't even stand to be around that person.
Mm.
Sometimes I don't know if you had that experience where the person says
Mm.
nothing, but the desk is
But
right
we
next to
know.
you. Yeah, and also our soul, our aura is quite
Yes.
large beyond our body energetically, right? So if you have somebody, the desk next to one another, you're going to be exchanging energy. So if the frequency of that person is really different than yours, that creates friction. So I don't know if I have a right term to explain energy rather than that's the emotions that you feel, because
Mhm.
what is emotion? It's an energy in motion, right? It's an
Mm.
energy
In
that's moving,
movement.
right?
Mhm.
This is emotion, energy in motion. It comes from Joe Dispenza. It's not from me, but
Mhm.
and so emotions is like your energy, frequencies, and vibration. That's what tells you whether you are in an environment in
Mm.
alignment with you or not. So you have to be aware of how you feel around people, how you feel after you ate certain foods, how you feel after you do certain activities or you meet people, right? So this is what it is really for me: energy, frequency, and vibration.
Mhm.
And I think my next project, I would be really interested to work on how to place people in an office space based on their
Mm.
energies, because I've done it once with my team when I still had my job. And I think it's important to start thinking as well as in an office space, how people can influence our energy and how to place them in a right flow. A little bit like feng shui with people. My
It's
next
a new
project.
exploration. It's
Yeah.
interesting, and also I also realize like when I am teaching to a class, I can see like people also they sit next to someone else which has the same kind of energy. Also, sometimes you can see like by themselves in it's unconscious. They just like sit and then they start to talk and then they never moved.
No, exactly. This is, when I started to play with the energy before even I created the method, I was going to some parties or social events and I was observing who
Ah.
is going naturally towards which person. And because I knew how to measure the frequency already, I was checking whether the frequency was matching. And they were.
Mm.
Like naturally, we're going to be attracted to people that has the same frequency or very close to our
Yes,
frequency.
it's true.
Because the frequency is like a level of consciousness. Our level of consciousness determines certain behaviors and certain values in life.
Okay.
So right, so that's, yeah, and that's why we're going to go towards the people that obviously have potentially the same behaviors, potentially the same ideas or values, because we feel more comfortable and we feel like we belong with those
Mm.
people. So energy can actually impact who we are. This is who we are. Energy is who we are, as the same as our thoughts and
Mm.
reaction to certain
Yeah.
situation. I often like to take this example.
Mhm.
Especially in South Africa, we unfortunately have a lot of homeless people in the streets.
Mm.
It hasn't got any better with COVID. And let's say you've got a person in the streets, just a homeless person. One person can one can walk in that street by that person and feel disgusted and feel like almost like maybe walking towards the next side of the streets and just don't want to connect. Another person see the same person and is not gonna move. Is gonna maybe just walk and say hi, how are you? Maybe not much more, but it's just gonna keep going. Another person, same situation, is gonna just bring some food and say how are you? Do you need anything else? And gonna really engage a conversation.
Yes.
It is the same situation, but because of certain conditioning and behaviors that we have, which is based on in our energy, we're going to react and interpret that situation in very different ways.
Yes, it's totally true. We can just observe like people and the interactions that they had with commerciant, and we can feel from that the energy of the people. We can have an idea. I mean, it's
Yeah, no, totally. And obviously, more your level of consciousness or frequency raise, more you are more accepting of others, more tolerant, but we all have a different path, so that's okay.
Yes. I just have a last question. Before you were speaking about the friction when like the aura and the energy of the people is too, there is like a big gap between two person. What kind of friction? Can you explain us a bit more about this kind of things?
Yeah, it's just something in the air. Like it's also always like just a feeling that you have. If
Mm-hmm.
you are surrounded by people that have a much different energy than you, especially lower frequency,
Yes. Mm-hmm.
you're gonna feel not at ease, not comfortable.
Oh.
And when I talk about friction is that the people with a lower frequency are usually gonna drain and take your energy from your aura body. So that's why you don't want to be surrounded yourself with people that has a much lower energy and frequency than you, because they are going to drain your energy and keep you down. So that's what I call by friction. And if you're capable of maintaining your energy for yourself, you're just going to be just not wanting to interact with them. Just not going to feel good around that. And
Mm-hmm.
this in a office space and in a business environment could create actually real friction, meaning and with conflict, meaning they don't understand each other, they don't agree on anything, they can't work together in a project, they keep nagging each other on like small stuff that are not important. So in a business environment, it could actually create real conflict and friction that maybe in a other context we're just going to move away and let it go.
Okay. Okay. Thank you for your explication, Fanny, and it was really rewarding. I hope like it helps also to answer to the question of people who listen us. But obviously, where we can find you.
Yeah, so I've got my Instagram, Galus Method, and I have a website which is on my name right now, fannygalus.com. And LinkedIn as well. I'm trying to be a bit more present on LinkedIn, where I will do some live webinars soon. So also follow me on LinkedIn under my name, Fanny Galus or Galus Method. And if you're interested to find out more, I have discovery calls for free. So we can always chat and see whether I can help you with whatever guidance people need. Yeah, so that's
Mhm.
it.
Thank you. And also, I don't want to forget the last question. Can you just share something with the people who listen us?
Yeah, I think really, if I can share one thing, is take the first step into being in alignment. Take the courage to say no when you don't feel like it. And I know there are many people that are people pleaser
Mm.
and have difficulty to say no. So I would say the number one step for an aligned life is just learn to say no. Just learn to feel that it's just not right for you, and protect your energy.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Also, I really like encourage people to write us a message if you want, a comments, or also to share this video or this podcast, because we are also a podcast. So we have videos on YouTube, but audios also if you prefer. And I wish you enjoyed this interview, and I say have a good day. Bye bye, Fanny.
Bye. Bye, Evelyn.
Bye.